Hi, I'm Inmaz, and I know what you're thinking. Bia, why are you on the floor? The first question is, why would I not be on the floor? Okay, it's actually because the lighting was just better here. So what you're seeing is the uglier part of my bookshelf, and it's where the nonfiction, the books I'm either going to sell or I just stole from my grandma, are like all over here. Here are my Heartstopper books that I'm using to like make a little stand, so to normally here. And then this is normally already like seen, I think, from the back, but here it's like some YA. There's also some like YA romance here. You can see Red, White, and Royal Blue over there. And then like my Sailor Moon, My Hero Academia manga, like along with my Funko Pops. There's one All Might Funko Pop, two Midoriya Funko Pops, one Kurogiri, and then one Tsuyu. So that is what we have here. And yeah, this is kind of the ugliest part of my bookshelf, but I'm here because the lighting was just better, and so I might do more stuff here. So I might make it a little prettier in here, but we're going to do a Christmas book haul. So I've recorded a bunch of book hauls actually. Like even last Christmas I did one, but I never posted it. Look at my nails. I never posted it because I don't like book hauls. Like it feels consumerist, like consumer, like I don't know. It just I don't know. And I see lots of people like doing insane ones, but I don't have anything else to post, and I need to post something. I mean, I do have stuff to post, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. So we're gonna do a little. Wait, picking up the books like this is a little Christmassy book haul. There's not a lot. There's 8 books here, I think. Either 8 or 9. I can't count. But it's either 8 or 9. And I made a little wish list so people could like gift me books. And it was just books. Some colorful makeup. The one I'm wearing right now, actually. Do you guys see that? Do you guys see that? Yeah. And a Lush body splash. So that was all I asked for and all I got. And I got a bunch of chocolate as well because why wouldn't I? But let's go to the motherfucking book because I just keep yapping. This video's gonna be so ass. Like, nobody's gonna watch this shit, but whatever. This is Death in Spring. I asked for this book because I was looking for, like, coming of age, like, horror. I think this is, like, horror-ish, like, thriller-ish. At least that's what I saw online. I'm not sure. And, you know, lots of people were recommending this one as also, like, a weird girl book. And so I'm here. And I really like the cover. That's one thing about me. I do judge a book by its cover because if like and everyone does like I never do, like you do it's just part of like human nature. Like even when you look at people, like when you see people with a certain style that you think does not fit yours, you're more inclined to not be their friend than you would if it was someone with like a similar or like a style you enjoy more. Like this is just I wish books had like the genres on the backs, like a little thing here, like just saying genre, da da da. Like they have like the new books coming out, like they have full on fucking tropes in the back and not a fucking genre. I mean, I know the genre is like romance or YA, but whatever. For this one, I think I don't know, but I do think it's kind of like weird and stuff. And here it says, often seen as an allegory for life under dictatorship, Dead in Spring is a bewitching and unsettling novel about power, exile, and hope that comes from even the smallest gestures of independence, which I love. I really like that idea. So let's go to the next one. This one is Childish Literature by Alejandro Zambra. I hope I said that properly. And this, again, this was also originally published in Spanish, but the author's from Chile, actually. So we're expanding the canon. Oh my god, I have philosophy of art university, and my teacher, he's really funny because he's a white man. He's Italian, and he's always talking about, you know, expanding the canon, expanding the Western canon, and more women in art, more people from everywhere in art. And so every time now that we like think of like something like that, like art and stuff, we always quote something he said at some point, and it's really funny. But whatever. This is Childish Literature. I wanted to ask for at least one of these Fitzcarraldo editions because I think they look cunty as hell. And so, and I read It Lasts Forever and then It's Over. I think it's like up here somewhere. And then I also read Scenes from a Childhood. That one was really good. I mean, there were like, that book is divided into like 4 different stories or something like that, and some of them I loved, some of them I was like, well, sure. I think there was one of them that I was really like, when is it over? And then when it lasts forever, then it's over. I was like, and it's finally over. Thank God. I didn't really fuck with that book. I might reread it though, because I feel like I wasn't even in the right headspace to read it. So even if there was something I could have liked, I just fully dismissed it because I was like, not with the type of patience. But yeah, I didn't really like that book, but I'm willing to try because again, they look comfy as hell. And so I went to the website in the middle. It was in the middle of class too. I forgot what class, but I was like in their website to like seeing all the different books that they have. And this one is about parenthood. And it's about parenthood in general, which I found very interesting. And like shifting from moving dispatches from his son's first year of existence to a treatise on football sadness to psychedelic narrative where a man tries mid-mage mushroom trip to relearn the subtle art of crawling. This latest work of shows children adults from despondency, self-absorption, and the tyrannies of chronological time. At once chronicle of fatherhood, a letter to a child, and work of fiction. It's the latest. This seemed very interesting. I really like books that talk about kids. I've been reading a lot of books that the narrator is their child. I mean, I haven't been reading a lot of them because I don't know a lot of them, but the ones I've read lately, which was Mrs. Ice Sandwich, which great book, like genuinely really cool book, by Miyako Kawakami, and I read Caroline by you know who. I wanted to talk about that book. I also I think it's here somewhere. It's here. It's Ocean at the End of the Lane by him too, author of Caroline, and I really like that book. Again, one of the other books I read that was like narrated by a kid. Really well done. But the guy's a fucking idiot. The guy's an asshole. Like, stop. The guy's a rapist. Like, Neil Gaiman is a rapist. I'm gonna say his fucking name because he deserves his name said. Fuck you, Neil Gaiman. Anyways, I read 2 of his books. And I read them before, like, I knew. No, with Coraline, I already knew, but I wanted to read Coraline because I really like Coraline. And so I read it, but I bought it secondhand because, again, I refused to give him any kind of money. And I already had the book before I knew, but again, it was still secondhand because there's a lot of Coraline secondhand books for like $2 out there on Vinted, so why would I pay 14? But yeah, I really like that book and it pissed me off. But yeah, I really like books that are like narrated by kids or that like show their minds a little bit. And this seemed like, that, especially when he says that like, he kind of like shows how children shield adults from, So I was like, well, that's very interesting. Sign me the fuck up. And so I asked for it for Christmas. And yeah, I really expect to like this. Like, if I don't, I'm gonna be pissed the fuck off. Also, this book is, I really like this thing about Fitzgerald. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Like Fitzgerald, I don't know. Editions, which is they have a lot of translated books, and it's something I really enjoy because I noticed that like in Portugal, like most of the books that we have to read are translated, either from English or from other languages into Portuguese. When you look for books in English, most of the books are already originally in English. So even if you want to read translated stuff, you have to look for it, which is why so many people here, like who are native English speakers, talk about, oh, translated fiction, I want to read more translated fiction, when for me, translated fiction for years, before I started reading in English was always kind of like what I read, and I had to actually reach out to read books from my own country instead of translated fiction, and I think that's very interesting. I actually want to make a whole video on that. Every time I make a fucking video, in here, there's always one idea that I put out, and I'm like, I actually want to make a video about that, and then I never fucking make it. Now this one, I have basically finished it. Like, do you see that? Like, I'm on page 163. No, 100. Yeah, 163, and the book has 224 pages. So that's like, I don't know how many pages to finish, but it's not a lot. And I'm really enjoying this. This book, I can't talk about this one properly now. This book is about, it's autofiction, I think. Like, it's the author's like own life, in a book. I think, like with fictional characters, of course, but yeah, it's based on her own upbringing, but using herself as a fictional character. Yeah, it's, you know, autofiction. This is really good. This is a banger, and I really like the orange symbolism. Like, the book is called Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, so when I first started, I was like actually, you know, looking to how fruit and oranges were going to appear in a book, because the book is about, you know, homosexuality and religious trauma and the church and all that stuff, you know, being a part of the church and wanting to be a part of the church, because she's like, she doesn't resent it, but being pushed away from it and being constantly wronged and excluded because of sexuality, and, you know, this kind of idea is being pushed onto you. And also, this kid is adopted. She was adopted. There's this weird thing going on with her adoption as well. Like, her mom appears at some point, but her, you know, adoptive mother doesn't like even let her talk with her mom. Like, it's, the whole book has kind of like this eerie vibe where you can tell the narrator, at least at the time that she's, you know, writing this. The narrator probably knows some things that are not in this book, because the book is written from the perspective of, like, you know, when she was 7, and then when she was like 15, 17, and stuff like that. And so we see those scenes where she's younger, and there's things that we get, like, we understand, like, there's these two women in the beginning of the book who kind of like have this store. I think they sell newspaper or something like that. And, you know, the main character used to go there, and she would go there and kind of like get stuff, you know, as kids do. They would give her like fruit and stuff, a banana. And her mom and the church in general told her to stop going because they were having like a natural love or something like that. It wasn't a natural love. That wasn't the word they used. It was something else. A natural relation, something like that. They're gay. It's pretty obvious. And she doesn't get it. Like, the author doesn't get it. All this talk about, you know, men and relationships and even sex, that the author is the author. Fuck, the main character is there for, but she doesn't get it, and she tells you that she doesn't really get it. She's confused, but you, the reader, know, because you're probably older than the character who's like 7 years old. And I really like that. Like, that's very interesting, you know, looking into the mind of a child. And then it kind of makes you think of like stuff that you heard as a kid that you didn't really understand, but a few years later you were like, well, yeah, no, that was not what it was about. And I really like that. Again, I really love books just like where the main character is younger than me. I don't know why. I've been finding a lot of like comfort and interest in that. Like, in some books it's comfort, in others it's just like interest and analysis, because it's really interesting to see how, and I feel like it's because I noticed that I've been feeling my brain developing, like, ever since, like, I was looking back at like pictures and tweets and like stuff I did and took like back in 10th grade, like when I was 15. And I noticed like that was so different from the type of stuff that I do now. You know, now I'm 18 and I'm not over here trying to fit in within the popular people in my class anymore. Like, I'm in college and I dyed my hair and I'm gonna dye it blue probably, but whatever. I have a butterfly in my head, I have glitter in my eyes, and I'm like not scared of it. And I can dress a little weird and not be bothered by it. And even if people like look at me like this, I don't really care. When I was 15, I cared a lot, even though I told myself I didn't. You know, there's all the stuff that I used to look at so much differently than I did now. And even when I was even younger, like 12, that I look back on it and I'm like, that's so interesting. You know, that was me, but that younger version of me was so different. You know, that's so interesting. And so I really like reading books where the character is still young and still doesn't really understand lots of things. And I like when you can kind of understand, you know, certain things that the main character doesn't. That happens a lot in Mrs. Ice Sandwich, because the boy who's like the narrator, he is like obsessed with this girl who's Mrs. Ice Sandwich from the shop, but you can tell that she feels like a little insecure, like people don't really like her and think she's ugly, but he doesn't, and that's so sweet. Like, that's such a sweet part of the book. It's such a sweet book. I really like it. I want to reread it maybe at the beginning of 2026 or before 2025, and I don't know, I'm gonna think of it. And now, to keep the lesbian strike, we have Notes of a Crocodile. Again, I really wanted to read books from like outside of, Europe and the UK and America, and this one is Chinese. So I was very interested in that, and I was very interested in reading like a queer story from, Asia, because I feel like when we talk about queer history and queer narratives here in Portugal and, in online spaces, especially when we're talking in English, we focus it a lot on like Western queer history, and we kind of like don't talk about the ones from like Africa, even South America or Asia. And so I've been really wanting to read those kinds of stories, from other places that are also queer, and I find that very interesting. Even women, like even when we talk about women and like female narratives and stuff like that, we focus a lot on like, Western perspectives. And so I've been wanting to see, how similar it is, the similarities, the differences, how some things can be so similar and some of them can be so different with queer perspectives of another place. And so I'm very excited for this book. I want to read all of these now. This is pissing me off. But this one is saying, set in the post-martial law era, late 1980s Taipei, Notes of a Crocodile is a coming-of-age story of queer misfits discovering love, friendship, and artistic affinity while hardily studying at Taiwan's most prestigious university. This is everything I've ever wanted in a book. Told through the eyes of an anonymous lesbian narrator named Ladzi, this cult classic is a postmodern pastiche of diaries, vignettes, mash notes, aphorism, exogenism, satire by an incisive prose stylist and major countercultural figure. This is everything I've ever wanted in a book. Like, are you kidding? And again, I've seen lots of people on social media like recommending this as like a really good book, so I'm really excited for this one. Also, I like the cover so much. Like these editions, what editions are these? It says here N Epsilon RB Classics. Here, can you see it? Here, I don't know if you can see it, but I really like them. Like I've been seeing a lot of them, and they're just like this is cunty. Like this is. I really like book editions that kind of match each other. They're always very cunty to me. And I'm kind of tired, like I'm getting kind of tired of Penguin Classics, so I want to get different ones. And the next book I got was, this one's Portuguese. It's called Morramos ao menos no Porto, which is translated to, this is hard. We should at least die in Porto. I'll actually make a better translation and put that in here because that was shit, but it's something like that, like that feeling. I've started this one as well. Like I'm on page 100. Actually, that's really fun. Page 100, and the book is 242 pages long, so I'm kind of midway. And hear me out. This won the Saramago Prize, so I was already expecting it because books that win this prize normally have, the ones I've seen at least, maybe I'm just bullshitting, but from the ones I've seen and read little bits of, they normally have, similar like weird narration styles, like more poetic and like literary ones. They either don't use punctuation, they don't use a lot of punctuation, the characters, the narrator is kind of the main character, but that it isn't like there's like this nuance in narration, which is very characteristic of José Saramago. He didn't really use punctuation, and sometimes the narrator was like present and sometimes he wasn't. Like it was a whole thing. Like you can mostly see it in the narrator and in punctuation. And so the books that win this prize normally are like that as well, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, maybe, again, from what I've seen, that's the case. And so they can be a little bit difficult to read. And I've been definitely noticing it with this one. But I think, I don't know, like I'm still midway through it. I haven't finished it. And this book is more of an idea than it is of a story. And for example, this book I can't read this to you because it's in Portuguese and I'm not gonna translate the full thing, but I really like the kind of setting and atmosphere the book has because it truly feels like Portugal in a way. Because for example, we talk about this minister who felt like literally beat up a boy. This boys being kind of stupid as kids. This man, the character I think we read the most of. He has a wife named Silvinha who is dead, and he is keeping her still there, like she's still there on the chair, and she's, you know, dying. She's already dead, like she smells. And you know, it's really interesting how, you know, it says that her odor mixes up with, you know, the other smells of the city, and you know, flowers and balloons, and it confuses their dogs because they have two dogs, and it's very interesting. And you know, again, yeah, the main character, he is his husband, her husband, and he's like I don't really know how to explain this. It's so interesting. He's, you know, he keeps trying to like heal wounds in her, but she's, you know, dead, and he knows he's dead, by the way. Like, it's not like he doesn't know. He knows he's dead. He says a lot of times, my wife, she's a dead body and stuff like that. And it's very interesting. Like, I'm very interested in this book, but again, this book is more of an idea and a feeling than it is of a story. And you know, for me to truly form an opinion on it, I need to finish it, because right now I'm kind of confused. But yeah, I think this book is more of an idea, a feeling, and a vibe than it is of a story. Not in the way that Piranesi is more of a vibe and setting, because Piranesi actually has like a strict storyline. This book is more confusing than that. You know, it's really, I think, let me try to show that here. So this is dialogue. Dialogue in Portuguese is normally not, like, they don't use the quotation marks, they use these here. And so you can see that here, and then here, where is it? It starts with like a not big letter, a small letter. And that happens a lot in the book, you know, grammar and punctuation and rules not working like they should. And I really like that about it. But again, it's kind of confusing now, so I need to finish it to form a proper opinion on it, because for now, it's more of a feeling and an idea than it is of a story. And so yeah, now I'm going to talk about these two first. This book first. This is Água Viva, Clarice. Wait, why am I speaking like? This is Água Viva, Clarice Lispector. Thank you. Like, why was I saying that with an English accent? That's not how, whatever. And I read her book, A Breath of Life. I think that's how it's called in English, but I read it in Portuguese. Obviously, why would I read it in English? And I've been really interested in reading this one, because people, like, this is the one people talk about the most. Also, these editions of her books are so fucking cool. Like, do you see that? Also, like, here inside, that's open, and then that's cool as fuck. And it also comes with a bookmark, which I really like. The books of this publisher all come with bookmarks. The other one that I have of Clarice Lispector also looks like that, and also has a bookmark. And this author, she also has like a more weird narration style. Like, it's very full of consciousness. And you know, on A Breath of Life, I was confused as fuck most of the time, but it was really good. Like, it was a good book, and I really like the writing, so I'm very interested in this one. And yeah, I don't know what it is about. I don't care what it is about. I'm just here for the narration, and that's it. And that's all I have to say. I'm just here for Clarice Lispector, my Shayla. This one is also by a Brazilian author. By the way, Clarice is Brazilian. She's not Portuguese, but we speak the same language, so. Also, that's very interesting. Back in the day, you know, when I was younger, I feel like a lot of Brazilian books used to like get adapted into European Portuguese. Now they don't anymore, and I think that makes sense. Like, why are we, like, that takes too much work. Like, it's, and also it can fuck up the flow of the phrases, because our grammar is different, and so the way the words are in a phrase, like, for example, their pronouns come mostly first, if not always first, then the verb. In ours, it depends. Sometimes they come first, sometimes they come after. So, you know, it's really different, and it really depends. Now, this book is also Brazilian. This is by Mariana Salomão Carrara, and it's called Não Fossem as Sílabas do Sábado. Oh, by the way, this book in this book in English is also called Água Viva, but Agua viva is jellyfish. By the way, I feel like you people need to know. Agua viva is jellyfish. Alfreca, which in Brazil they mostly call them agua vivas. Here we also call them that, but we also call them alfrecas, which I'm pretty sure it comes from Arabic, as most words with al in Portuguese do. But yeah, so that's a little fun fact for you guys. It means jellyfish, which I really like because I really like jellyfishes. That's I don't know why I forgot that. That's one of the biggest reasons why I wanted this book, because I really like jellyfish. And so I know the book is probably nothing to do with jellyfishes, but like it's called jellyfish. Like, are we serious? But yeah, this one on the other hand I got because I have another book by the same author. Let me look for it. Wait a second. I don't think it's here, but whatever. Back. Okay, so let me just show you guys this first. See how the Clarice Lispector editions match. Yeah, extremely cool. Also, this book is full of sand, so I'm not gonna touch it a lot. This one is also full of sand, but you know. This is the other book I read by this author. By the way, this is a great way. This is the size of most books in English, and this is the size of like most books in Portuguese. Like, I'm not kidding you, books in Portuguese are just big as fuck for no reason. But yeah, so look at my little things. So yeah, this book is like, again, narrated by a child. I've been eating that up recently. Really cool book. And it's about bullying, it's about family, love, queer too. I'm pretty sure the author's queer. I'm not sure. I need to look the author more. But yeah, and so I was very interested in that. However, this book seems to have like a very different sort of vibe, which I'm also very interested. Wait, can you? Is this? Okay, no, thank you. It's because here on the corner there's like this white stripe, and that's because of the wait. Yeah, that's because like whatever. That was my cat. Anyways, this book seems to have a whole different vibe, and it seems to be about these women who have lost both of their husbands or like boyfriends or whatever, and they're raising a child, I think. I'm not sure, but I didn't really care about, you know, what the plot was, because I really liked this book. Like, it's genuinely great. And so I just wanted to read something by the same author. By the way, and then I chose this one specifically because the title is really cool. The title is Não Fossem as Sílabas do Sábado, which means if it weren't for the syllables of Saturday. Yeah. So that's very interesting, and I'm very excited about that. This was supposed to be a short video. Anyways, whatever. And now this is this is a nonfiction book about the history of the Gothic scene. Do you see the size of this shit? And I didn't look up the pages. I was not expecting the Goth Bible. But yeah, I was very interested in this book because I saw that it had interviews, and I saw actually pretty good reviews of it. And I love learning about subcultures and like fashion and music and stuff like that. And May, no! No! Did you see that? She took my hairpin. Little bitch. No, she's playing with it. Anyways. So I'm very interested in all that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this book. And then I opened it on Christmas. And it's a fucking rock. Like, I could kill someone with this. Like, you know, we should start killing fascists with this book. But yeah, it seems very interesting. And again, it had Robert and Six Suzy from Six Suzy and the Banshees on the cover. Sign me the fuck up. Sign me the fuck up. Like, so yeah, I have the Goth Bible now that I'm going to pray to every night. Like, every night I'm just gonna, oh my god, you know how the Christians like go to the beach, and you know there's wind, and they're like, whatever page it lands on, it's the page I'm gonna like read. And so they start like reading the Bible, and they're like, vagabonds, Bradford, new model, Army and Joel, like something like that. Like, that's so fucking funny. Like, I'm gonna do that with this one. That's hilarious. So yeah, this was for all the books I got for Christmas. Gothic Bible. I like the author. Also like the author plus jellyfish. Portuguese book with a cool idea. Lesbian, Chinese. lesbian, Christian, childhood, fatherhood, literature, weird girl book with a cool cover. That's basically it. I'm trying to get my cat to show up because I always try to get one cat at least to show up in the video. I do that on purpose, but she doesn't give a fuck. She's just at the window. She doesn't care. She doesn't give a single fuck. Yeah, bye.